asked a very interesting question concerning upholding the ties of kinship, أو صلة الرحم. She said, is it just limited to immediate family or the extended family as well? To what extent? And that can carry two meanings. The first is the extent of the sila, the upholding itself, and also the extent of up to whom. Who will be considered my kinship, my relatives? Is it only my immediate family members? I mean those who are related to me via my parents, father and mother. Well, Silatul Rahim, or upholding the ties of kinship, is actually different levels, types and categories. There is the general Silah, the general upholding the ties of kinship, which covers all the Muslim Ummah. They do have rights upon every Muslim. And there is a specific one. The most important of this specific part is the immediate family members who are related to the person through his parents. And that will be the uncles and the aunts. The uncles and the aunts do have most of the rights upon the person because of his parents. Then there will be the cousins and the far cousins and so on. Some of the scholars said the second category is everyone who has a share in the inheritance, whether he may inherit me if I die or I may inherit him. So every person who has a share in the inheritance is connected to me via the rahim or the kinship, and accordingly they do have rights upon me, whether they are uncles and aunts, cousins and nephews and nieces, and so on. There is a very interesting hadith which I believe we mentioned in the beginning of the Egyptian revolution when I asked the viewers to pray for Egypt and its people. The hadith is collected by Imam Muslim when the Prophet ﷺ enjoined upon his companions to be good and kind to the Egyptians. He said, إِنَّكُمْ سَتَفْتَحُونَ مِصْرَ فَإِذَا افتتحتموها فَأَحْسِنُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهَا فَإِنَّ لَهُمْ ذِمَّةً وَرَحِمًا. This hadith was said while the Prophet ﷺ was on his deathbed. He said, be kind to the people of Egypt, that you will open it one day, you will conquer it one day. Actually, this prophecy was fulfilled 10 years after the demise of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during the Khilafah of Umar ibn Khattab under the leadership of Amr ibn al-As, may Allah be pleased with him. So 10 years later, his prophecy was fulfilled and the companions conquered Egypt. He said, فَاسْتَوْصُوا بِأَهْلِهَا خَيْرًا. So I enjoin upon you to be kind and good to its people. And in another narration, فَأَحْسِنُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهَا, according to the text of Imam Muslim, may Allah have mercy on him. So you have to deal with them on a kind basis and be good to them. Why? He said, فَإِنَّ لَهُمْ ذِمَّةً وَرَحِمًا. They do have two rights, الذِّمَّة and الرحم. الذِّمَّة is because of Maria al-Qibtiyya. When a Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent a letter to Al-Muqawqis, the ruler of Egypt, inviting him to Islam, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's letter was honored by Al-Muqawqis, and he sent him a gift. She was a slave woman, Maria, whom Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam took her as a wife, and she conceived and she gave birth to Ibrahim, the Prophet's son. Sallallahu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. So because of this kinship and this relationship, he considered all the Egyptian people do have a dhimma. And al-rahim, or the kinship, which is stated in the hadith, is due to the fact that the father of the Arab and the father of all the prophets, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and his son Ismail, peace be upon both of them, the mother of the Arab is considered Hajar. When Ibrahim alayhi salam visited Egypt and the Egyptian pharaoh captured his wife Sarah, and he was trying to seduce her and so on, and she prayed and she asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save her from the pharaoh, and Allah delivered, and the pharaoh was paralyzed. Then afterward the Pharaoh wanted to give her a gift, so he gave her, Sarah, Hajar. She was also an Egyptian slave woman, whom later on Ibrahim a.s. married to, and she conceived and she gave birth to the very first son of Ibrahim a.s., who was Ismail, Prophet Ishmael, peace be upon him. So when Hajar and Ishmael were taken by Ibrahim a.s. to that deserted place which was Mecca, there was no life whatsoever there, not even Zamzam well, as you all know. And they were left there, and we know the entire story about the trust and confidence that Hajar a.s. had in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when she said to Ibrahim, did Allah command you to do so? He said yes. She said, then we will never get lost, and so on. So Ar-Rahim, the kinship, which links all Muslims and the companions in Mecca and Medina to the Egyptian people even before conquering Egypt and opening, was through Hajar alayhi salam. So from that we understand that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam enjoined on his companions to be kind and to uphold the ties of their kinship with the Egyptian people via a kinship which extended over several thousand years. So the immediate family, there is an agreement between the scholars that they do have most of the rights, which will be supporting financially if they were in need, exchanging visits, celebrating with them their happy moments, giving them the condolence and sharing with them the sorrow, and giving them from your zakah fund if they were eligible, and you receive double reward for that. The least means of upholding the ties of kinship is, according to what the scholars say, is not to desert them, at least by phoning them, inquiring about their health, wishing them the best, praying for them. This is the least. This is a very important subject. I just want to spend the entire episode talking about the limits of the family members and the limitations of upholding the ties of kinship. That would be enough for today, inshallah.